Okay, hi guys, and karibuni sana. I am just saying that we need to start because now it's 8:07, so we need to actually go ahead and kick off the session. So allow me to just appreciate you for being with us this evening. Thank you very much for always making the time. And if you're joining us for the first time, karibuni sana. This is what we do every Tuesday from 8 to 9 p.m. We have set aside time to learn and actually become better at entrepreneurship and employment. So this is a program called Get It Right with Atara Solutions, where we seek to demystify issues in entrepreneurship and employment. This is our 8th session of season 2, which is brought to you by Balcon Housing and Stallion Construction Company. My name is Grace Nzula. I am a trainer and HR consultant with Atara Solutions and a HR consulting and training firm that provides total HR solutions to employers and employees. At Atara Solutions, we help employees who are seeking to improve their performance in workplaces and those seeking for job placements. We also assist employers implement HR systems, upskill their HR, as well as find good talent. I also work with Vanessa Training Institute, which is a school that provides carpentry courses. So Get It Right with Atara Solutions takes place every Tuesday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. If you have missed any of the sessions that we've covered before, please visit our YouTube channel, which is Get It Right with Atara Solutions. And you can catch up and also there's quite some really, really good content in there. So allow me to just remind you why we started this webinar. 22% of businesses fail in the first year. 30% fail in the second year, 50% in the 5th year, and 70% actually fail in the 10th year. So imagine if a business started in 2020, 70% of them will not see 2030, which is really sad. And part of why they are failing is because of lack of information. It's also because of some myths. I know we live in an era where entrepreneurship is glorified, and sometimes employment is also made to look as if it's easy. So we try and make sure that whichever place you're at, you're making the best out of it. So as always, allow me to mention our partners. We have Kapula Mintito. Kapula Mintito is an online shop based in Mombasa that sells mostly coastal goodies that are not only yummy to the palate, but also nutritious. They sell cashew nuts, which are raw or roasted and salted. They also have baobab powder, mbirimbi, raw almonds, organic honey, and mabuyu, achari, and dates. So if you're looking for that mabuyu, that one, or you're looking for mbirimbi or baobab powder or cashew nuts, kindly speak to Kapula Mintito. They are online. You can find them on Instagram and Facebook. They call themselves Kapula Mintito. We would like to appreciate our media partners, Graphics Broadcast. I don't know whether they're with us today yet. They normally help us go live on Facebook. We are actually live on Facebook and YouTube. So if you're looking for people who can take your events live, if you have a wedding, you have any other event that requires you to broadcast either on YouTube or on Facebook, in this era where we are told not to avoid gatherings, so speak to Graphics Broadcast Media. You can check them out online or reach out to me and I will share their contacts. As I promised, we have an interesting lineup for you guys. Next Tuesday, we will be hosting an HR professional who will help all job seekers learn to answer interview questions. After that, we are looking at bringing back KRA, who are going to help us deal with our VAT and pay, because you remember we have a deadline for June to file our returns. So today's session is brought to you courtesy of Balcon Housing, a real estate company incorporated in the year 2001. The company has successfully sold many parcels of land in different parts of the country. They provide both residential and commercial land for investors, individuals, and groups. They also offer property management services. They have a broad asset expertise complemented by their comprehensive property management services of mid to large scale properties. It is also brought to you by Stallion Company, a construction company that helps you renovate or build your property. I am honored to introduce our speaker of the day. I was actually soaking into the book Sacked So What, and I have a copy, so you can look for it. It's really, really awesome. There's some really great nuggets from this book. I will also let you know how many other books he's written. So Vincent Ogutu is our speaker of today. He's a personal and business transformational coach. He's passionate about helping individuals and entrepreneurs overcome life and business challenges, innovatively assisting clients turn their dreams and ideas into reality. Vincent is gifted in helping clients reformulate their painful experiences into fuels for self-growth and personal development. Vincent mentors for Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurship Program. Over the last 3 years, 3 mentees qualified a $5,000 grant through his mentorship. So he speaks on overcoming uncertainty, dealing with failure, goal setting and implementation, creating sustainable enterprises, and how to turn problems into opportunities for growth and success. If you can refer to our topic of today, it is the courage to reinvent yourself, regardless of what happens to you. Vincent has authored 4 books. The first one is Life is Like That, Power of Life Contradictions. This one aims to encourage people to take action. He has also written Sacked So What, which is the book I've just shared with you. This is the power of hope and action. It ushers in a new beginning. He has also written Who Are the Top Dollar Billionaires in Africa? This is Entrepreneurship is the Answer to Poverty. That is what that book focuses on. The 4th book he's written is Escape. This is Experience Freedom, which refers to many prisons in life to overcome. That is debt, stress, relationships, etc. So if you look at, if you've heard what Vincent has been able to put together, you can tell that he is actually a very gifted and resourceful person. Hi, Donna, I can see you. Karibu sana to this session. And Vincent, let me ask you, how did you come up with this title?
It was using my experience and looking at how people are losing jobs. Companies are closing down, people are being retrenched. And I asked myself, with my entrepreneurship expertise, how can I help solve that problem? So I solved that problem by writing a book, interviewing a few people who had experienced separation, either through retirement, being retrenched, being sacked, and how they managed to overcome their situation. And that became Sacked So What. So it doesn't matter whether you are sacked or whatever. What counts is what you do after the event.
Right. So tell us, how do we gather the courage to reinvent ourselves?
Thank you, Grace, for this awesome session. I had actually thought of putting up some PowerPoint slides just to guide the listeners. I'd also thought of just having a conversation. And it was not easy to actually come up with the answer. So I think we'll do a hybrid.
Okay.
So that those who would like to take notes can take notes. So they can use this time to get a pen, get a paper. Because normally what I have on the slides, there is more that I just talk about. And just looking at the slides, you might not actually gather the gist of what I discuss. So if you'll allow me to just share the introduction. So the courage to reinvent yourself. This is a very interesting topic, especially during these uncertain times when there is a lot of disruption. So as I start, I believe people have experienced pain in one way or another. and the pain might come in different phases. So the audience, I would just like to ask, are you experiencing difficulty in paying your bills? Or do you feel disappointed with relationships in the past? Or you are currently experiencing that? Or are you struggling with your career or your finances? Are you feeling stagnant? You cannot move forward, you cannot move backwards, or you cannot move sideways. And lastly, do you feel that when you look at your life now and where you are supposed to be, there is a gap? If your answer to any of these 5 questions, 2 refers to you, 2 or more refers to you, then today's session or today's conversation is actually targeted for you. This is what we describe as pain. And pain comes in different packages. So how do we look at pain differently? People would say that when you experience pain, you can cry about it. It is okay to cry, but how many liters of tears will you produce? And if you produce the tears, can you sell them? There comes a time that you'll say, I've cried enough. Now, what do I need to do to actually change my perspective? And that leads to, what do you do after you have experienced pain? I would like to share with the audience that I've experienced all of this and I've reinvented myself. I'll share my story towards the end. But what is important is, can we look at pain in proper perspective, where we don't overcry or over put premium on pain? Pain, in my opinion, has 5 important lessons that it is communicating to us. The first aspect of pain that we need to look at is that pain is a disruptor. Pain is a disruptor. Pain is one of those things that happens in life that will shake you from being complacent. It will shake you into action, so you don't take anything for granted. The second aspect that can be attributed to pain is that pain is a driver. When you look around, for those people who have gone to school, people who have experienced extreme poverty, they tend to run away from poverty as fast as they can go. And when you try to remind them the past, they don't even want to remember. So pain is a driver that will give you direction in life. You know what to avoid, and you know which direction to take. The third aspect of pain that I would like to share is that pain is actually a friend. People will consider that madness for one to consider pain a friend. In my opinion, pain is a friend because it reminds us that God exists. If we were all comfortable and everything was working for us, we would forget about values, we would forget about God. So pain is a friend. It's one way of reminding ourselves that the Almighty exists. The fourth aspect about pain that we need to consider or look at pain in that perspective is that pain is a gift. Pain is a gift because many people who have experienced good life and then disruption occurs and they feel disoriented, they lose nearly everything. Those who relook inside themselves and try to rebuild their lives, they would actually thank the pain for the different direction that their life took. So pain is a gift. I'll share a few case studies of real people, which majority of them we all know, that underwent pain, and pain became the path to success and excellence. The fifth aspect of pain that I would like to discuss is that pain is a motivator. Pain motivates people to do different things and to excel. There are people who their relationships didn't work out, and they promise themselves that they will succeed in life, and whoever did whatever they did will regret whenever they see them because they will be wowed. And lastly, the aspect of pain that we need to look at is that pain is actually a transformer. Pain will help you transform. So if we look at these 6 aspects of describing pain, we would be able to start reinventing ourselves. Now, for us to reinvent ourselves, I would like to borrow from a world figure known as Michael Brody White, who describes himself as an addict. He had a problem of addiction, and that was his pain. And using his pain, he came up with 3 principles that any of us can use to change our lives. One of the principles is being authentic. We need to remove the mask and tell ourselves the truth. If you start telling yourself the truth, is the first principle of changing your life, reinventing yourself. If you have no money, yes, you have no money. What do you do to get money? How can you serve to change your life? Secondly, surrender the outcome. What this means is that once you've set the goal that you want to achieve, what are the action points? Which are the activities that you're going to engage yourself that will drive you towards your goal? Eventually, the goal will be achieved because of what you do on daily basis, the activities. Lastly, people who succeed in reinventing themselves, they do the uncomfortable things that everybody else ignores. You will all agree with me that in our homes, we generate rubbish, and nobody thinks about rubbish as rubbish is money. The people who either recycle or create new products or generate electricity, they're actually doing the uncomfortable. So based on these principles that I've discussed and the 6 factors of how we need to look at pain, I will share there's somebody who has raised a hand. Maybe Grace, you need to probably check.
We will deal with it. Kindly put
Sure.
your question or anything on the Q&A or chat so that then we have a flow and we don't interrupt the thought process.
Sure. So when we use these 3 principles and the 6 perspectives of pain that I discussed earlier, we can actually change our lives. So the first case study, maybe on the chart, who knows this gentleman? Any idea? Maybe 10 seconds.
Anyone knows this guy? No.
Okay, let me proceed.
Yeah.
This gentleman is from South Africa. So I'll take you on a journey to South Africa to see how pain can be used to change your life. This gentleman is known as Becky Kunene. Becky Kunene appeared in 30 Under 30 Forbes magazine in the year 2015. And he is considered very successful. And where did his success emanate from? Becky Kunene, when you look at his background, he had a reputation of hitting a teacher with a hammer on the head. And he was expelled from school before he finished his Form 4. And no school was willing to take him up. Beki Kunene had a thirst for education, and he tried many schools, and none would take him. Then he got one chance, and he managed to sit for his metric. Metric is the equivalent of Form 4. And he passed not well enough to join university, considering that he comes from a very disadvantaged background. He was born and brought up in one of the slums of Cape Town, known as Guguletu. Guguletu has got two reputations, one of crime and the other one is poverty. So for you to actually survive in such an environment, you need to be different. So Beki Kunene got one opportunity to sit for his exams. He passed. After passing, he looked for college, and no college was willing to take him because of his background, hitting a teacher with a hammer. And then he got one opportunity. He was interested in doing graphic design and web design. And the college that took him in gave him one condition. If you scored more than 75% in all the units that you're going to take, your fees is paid in full. Sometimes in life, you only need one chance to be able to change your life, irrespective of what you experienced in the past. It doesn't describe you. That is not you. So he passed very well, and he finished college. And for him to graduate, he had to undertake internship. And no company was willing to take him in because of the hammer story. So this gentleman decided to start his own company and do internship in his own company so that he can fulfill the requirements for graduation. How many of us will just give excuses for what we are supposed to execute effortlessly? So he started his company in his bedroom with a laptop with only 4,600 equivalent Kenya shillings, only $46. He got one client who was so happy with his job that the client started to market him to other potential clients. When he finished his graduation, he intended to close his company. And his client told him, Beki, you cannot be serious. He continued, and today, Mindtricks is one of the leading graphic design companies in South Africa and in the world. He has clients all over the world: Vietnam, US, Kenya, Zimbabwe, South Africa, and many other countries. So he used his pain, being denied education, and being thought of as a product for the prison or the grave or the graveyard. So we can actually use our pain to transform our lives and impact society. Today, he empowers youths from the same slums of Cape Town, Guguletu, to change society. He's creating jobs, and he's done well using his pain. I believe we don't know this gentleman too. Our second case study is this gentleman known as Max Moyo. Max Moyo was a gentleman working in the fast lane. He was a sales director for a multinational insurance company. He was in the job for only 18 months, and then a merger came. And after the merger, he was jobless. He was 5 million rands in debt. 1 year without a job, the wife decided to run away. He was divorced. So let me share here that there are two things that will break a man. One, losing your family, and second, losing your job. Because for men, the job describes us. What we do is what we are. So you remove the job, what we do, and you remove the family, we are crushed. This gentleman cried until a friend mentioned that you've not lost your family. It's just that they don't live with you. And his perspective changed. He looked down inside himself. He decided to make good use of skills and experience. He's written 4 books. Today, he's an international public speaker, trainer, and coach. He's done better than when he was a sales director for a major insurance company. So from our pain, we would be able to achieve much, much more. I believe the third gentleman is known to majority of us. This is Steve Harvey. People know the success, but we don't know the background. Let me share some part of his pain. This gentleman lived in a car for 3 years because he had lost all his property. He's actually lost his property 3 times. But that one did not discourage him. He's very good at telling jokes. He didn't do well in school. His grammar is as bad as mine, but he succeeded. How did he succeed? Initially, he used to write jokes and give it to a friend who will pay him $10. And the friend will go perform and will be paid $50. So writing the jokes is $10, and actually doing the performance, you earn an extra $40, until he was challenged by a friend of a friend. You write very good jokes. Why don't you go and do it yourself? And when he went to tell jokes for the first time and he was paid $50, he cried of all the opportunities he had missed before. And because he was being encouraged, he continued to excel. From one joke to the next joke to the third joke. And he's now 62 and doing very well, having learned from his pain. I'll share with you another story of a lady whose husband was sent to jail. He had a young baby, no job, no college education, and life seemed impossible. This lady is known as Lisa Nichols. Lisa Nichols is a great storyteller. She appeared in the movie The Secret, and he contributed to the book Chicken Soup for the Soul. This lady was encouraged by the grandmother. So I'll encourage all the people who are feeling discouraged. There is always one voice that is at a disconnect with the others. When others are thrashing you, there is a voice that is encouraging you. The grandmother used to encourage her that always learn how to tell stories, because when you get old, you'll tell it to your grandchildren. One time when she was in primary school, she always used to participate in swimming gala. And in the swimming gala, she used to come last. She tried many times and she was always last. With time, one time, the grandmother encouraged her that she wanted to quit. And the grandmother told Lisa Nichols that winners never quit and quitters never win. She participated in the last swimming gala, and the grandmother brought all the other family members to cheer her up. When she jumped into the swimming pool, she was singing in her heart, "Winners never quit and quitters never win." She went ahead and actually won. And she was surprised because she was always the last one. But in this particular situation, she became first. But what makes her story very interesting was that she was so poor that she depended on welfare. When the husband was sent to jail, she had no job and she had a young baby. She tells her story that there was one time that she was so broke and so poor that she could not afford Pampers for a young boy, about 2 years old then. And she promised herself that this is the last time I am going to be this poor. I would like to share with the audience a framework that we can actually use to change our lives. And probably it might be the formula for rebuilding ourselves. And the formula is EDGAR, where E stands for the event. What is that painful event that you have experienced in the past that you wouldn't wish to experience again? Once you have identified the event, you need to decide. So the second item is decide. You have to make that decision. It is a personal decision that will actually help you change your life. Once you've made the decision, you need to craft the goals that you need to achieve. You don't need to have many goals. A maximum of 3 is sufficient. Once you have stated your goals, you need to move into action. So event, decision, goals or a goal, and action. It is what you do every day that will change your life, that will transform your life. That is the story of Lisa Nichols. Another story before we finish. There is also another gentleman called Chris Gardner. Chris Gardner is a gentleman that experienced a lot of difficulty in life. This gentleman became homeless, was divorced, and left with a young boy 2 years old. His pain was so much that there is a time that he stayed in a public toilet for 1 full year as he tried to save, to raise money to get an accommodation. He got one chance because he was interested in stocks. He became so good that another rich gentleman observed his work ethic and hired him and increased his salary from $1,000 to $5,000 and actually gave him an advance to go and buy suits so that he can get into his new job. So what happens is that what matters is not what happened to you, is how you respond to it and the decisions you make towards changing your life. It will not be fair if we don't talk about Kenyan stories. So allow me to share briefly 2 Kenyan stories. Many of us put a lot of masks on our faces so that we are not laughed at, and that prevents us from achieving our dreams. This is Kimani Maruge. Kimani Maruge decided to get back to school, aged 80 years. When President Kibaki decided to have free primary education, he got his uniform and decided to go back to school because he wanted to know how to read the Bible. People laughed because why are you going back to school? It is not worth it. Which career do you want to start at 80? Probably life starts at 80. I don't know, I'm yet to experience that. But the decision he made ensured that Kimani Maruge managed to get into a plane, get to US, and he attended several educational conferences out of the decision of wanting to get an education. deciding to be different. And that changed his life because he became very popular. He became the oldest student in the world ever, and his name is in the Guinness Book of World Records. So we need to be authentic. We need to pursue our dreams, irrespective of what other people are going to say. Let's share another story. This is Simon Gisharu. Simon Gisharu was a teacher with TSC, and he got a scholarship to go and study in the UK. He was sacked by TSC because he went without permission. Sometimes in life you need to take risks because there are people who will just become a nuisance towards your life. So if you don't take a risk, you will remain stagnant, bitter. Who are you bitter about? Make your decision, whether it is good or bad, it is your decision. At least own up, it is your decision. So this gentleman was sacked, he went, came back, no job. You have a family, you have to survive. He decided to train people on using computers. And his initial step is what became Mount Kenya University. So these are some stories that I've shared, some real case studies that I've shared that shows you can use pain to transform your life when we look at pain in the real perspective. So allow me to give you my story. I was very poor in grammar when I was in secondary school. And there was this teacher who told me that I can never write good essays. I can never pass grammar because out of 10 questions, I will score 2 out of 10. And I was made to believe that grammar is so difficult that it's only made for people from space. Fast forward, I was at the university doing my master's. I wrote a lot of academic papers and no lecturer talked about grammar. And I happened to publish 2 of my academic work in international journals. And the only comment was they are worth publishing. And there was no mention of the word grammar. Imagine if I continued just thinking of the weakness that I had in secondary school throughout my life, I will not be an author today. One of the papers that I published has been read globally by more than 1,500 people, and it has been cited as part of the academic work. It is what you do that actually changes who you are. It is not what other people have said that you are. I'll give you another story. When I was doing my undergraduate, I don't know in the audience, how many of you, probably by a show of hands, who have ever failed a unit? Have you ever scored an E in any unit?
I haven't.
Yes, I happened to score an E, excellent, in statistics in my undergraduate, and it's the only E I've ever got in any exam. And I thought, my God, now with this E, how will I explain it to anyone in future, including my children? So fast forward, when I went back for master's to study entrepreneurship, the first course was a unit in statistics. And I told myself, Vincent, this is a time for you to redeem yourself. You know you have done badly, and this is an opportunity for you to make good what didn't work. So I worked very hard and I scored a C, from an E to a C. When I went for further studies, doing my PhD, the first unit was again statistics. And I said, oh my God, you are so generous with me that you give me 3 opportunities to redeem myself. And I scored an A in statistics. So it is not what happens to you, it's the decisions that you make that will actually transform your life. As I conclude, allow me to share something concerning my work as a part-time lecturer. I worked as a part-time lecturer in Seku. Seku is Southeastern Kenya University, where I taught statistics and research methods. I taught for about 3 years. That was 6 years ago. No, five years ago. And to date, I've still not been paid. So I asked myself, now you've worked, you've not been paid, and you need resources to actually work. I decided to reinvent myself. I did some courses in terms of seminars to learn how to coach. I've learned different skills like writing books, and I use these skills to actually earn. I give talks, I train, and now I earn. So the pain that you experienced in the past is what you can use to transform yourself. So as I conclude, 5 take-home points. First, whenever you experience difficulty, look inside yourself and ask yourself, what talents or giftings do you have? Because those will be the ladder that will give your life meaning and will help you excel without much difficulty. Steve Harvey told jokes. Lisa Nichols gives stories. Others share their pain. Chris Gardner's pain was transformed into a book and a movie. So we can actually use our pain as a stepping stone to greatness. The second lesson is we need to enroll in long life learning, because it's through the new skills that we gain and the knowledge that we increase our capacity to earn. Third, we need to learn to take risks, to experiment, because progressively this builds courage. When you fail, is good because you learn from the failure. Success is actually defined by Winston Churchill, that success is moving from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm, because it is that drive to continue that will give you success. Number 4, create value. Ask yourself, what problem can you solve? And look for people who are actually experiencing those problems. They will be your customers. They will be willing to pay you to take the pain away. Lastly, network. It's through networking that I reached Grace, and today we are here giving a talk. When you network, you build a fan base, you have followers. When you write books, you have readers. You build a tribe, and that one will be your source of wealth. So in conclusion, no one can stop you other than yourself. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Vincent. I love the finish. No one can stop you other than yourself. I was about to interrupt you when you're going on with the presentation, because somebody was asking, don't we have any Kenyan stories? So I'm really glad that you've included 2 of them. And allow me to just ask a few things. Allow me to remind our audience that this session is brought to you by courtesy of Balcon Housing in partnership with Atara Solutions, as well as Stallion Construction Company. If you're looking for a plot or somebody to manage your property, please get in touch with Balcon Housing. And if you're looking to carry on out renovations in your place, you can always reach out to Stallion Construction Company and they'll be able to sort you out. So I'm just curious to, let me just read a comment from Catherine, who says, I got 0 out of 25 in Form 3 in accounting, but I'm a proud accountant currently pursuing PhD in finance and CPAK.
That is the way. That is the way.
Yeah. So, and who is this? Richard. Coach, you're here. Karibu sana. He's saying Nicole's of moving the masses is persuasive and convincing on storytellers. He's echoing your sentiments about using pain. And there's something that I read in your book that says on page 130, lift others up. It is not a sign of weakness. It is not a sign of weakness. Mentor and grow them. And you also say, never give up. If you can't get it, create it. I really love that part. Never give up. If you can't get it, create it. So I really love that extract. Let's take one question from an anonymous attendee. How are you able to change what your high school teacher said about your grammar to become an author?
For me, my gift is telling stories. So I'll tell my stories. If I need to write, I'll write. We have editors that will always make the book readable, presentable. So that is somebody else's problem. My problem is to tell stories. So why should I shortchange the audience from great stories? That's how I handle that. But I continue reading, so I'm improving with every time. Talking is one way of improving. And I believe I've communicated well, which means that the grammar isn't that bad. Thank you.
Okay, and we have Ilya Bui saying, great presentation. I lost work in 2020, May, after the pandemic, but after today, I feel re-energized to reinvent and start afresh. Thank you.
Thank you.
Somebody is saying, how much are the books and where can they be found?
I will share my contact. I'll share my contact.
You can put it on the chat.
Okay.
Yes, so as
the books are 1,000 shillings. Where is the chart?
We will actually share his presentation so you can add your contact details at the end.
Okay,
yeah,
that's my contact details.
Yes. So we can share that to everyone who registered the way we usually do. So yes. Vincent,
the books are 1,000 shillings.
Yeah.
They can M-Pesa me through any of the numbers, and we'll organize how they'll get the book.
That's fine. So allow me to also ask, we are saying that we can change the pain into something good, obviously. What happens if we are looking to just maybe change careers? Because in not necessarily being fired or losing employment, what if when we want to change careers, what can we do? Because that's part of reinvention.
Yes. In terms of changing careers, I would say that I've also changed careers in myself. I started off as a medical representative selling pharmaceuticals, and I was not happy. So what did I do? I decided to go back and study what I really wanted, what I was passionate about. So one, you can take additional skills training. My second point was in the conclusion, acquire new skills in terms of enrolling in lifelong learning. So you learn new skills, probably volunteer in what you actually want to do, or understudy somebody who is doing something that you want to do. And reading is a great way of transforming your perspective. So if you want to change from marketing to finance, start reading finance items, whether magazines, newspapers, attend seminars towards what you want to go into, and start networking. Look for a mentor. All these will be able to help you to transition from one career into another.
Now we have quite a number of entrepreneurs who have logged in here today, and what would be your insights to them? What would you tell them? Because most of us who are running businesses have found ourselves having to reinvent and make some decisions that and normally take risks. Let me call it that.
Yeah, as entrepreneurship is about creating value. And for you to excel, or actually, let's say, put it this way, I like being blunt. We are operating in an unusual times, in an unusual environment. For our goal at the moment as entrepreneurs is just to survive.
Right.
So what do you do to survive? For you to survive, you need to take calculated risks. So instead of risking $500,000, can you risk 10,000? Can you risk 5,000? To experiment and see if your ideas are going to make sense. Can you invest? There is a model that I normally share with my clients. It's known as Business Model Canvas. It's a one-page document that helps you to understand your business. And it helps you to ask questions about your business and get answers. So the main two things that we need to look out if you're an entrepreneur is, which problem are you solving? Once you are clear about the problem you're solving, you need to ask yourself, who are your customers? So whatever business that you do, these two questions should never escape your mind. Because it's through the problem that you're solving that you create value and you get customers. And customers generate revenue for your business. So if your business is not doing well, probably you are not very clear of the problem you're solving, or you don't know how to get to your customers, the target customers that you need to reach out to. I hope that answers your question.
I think it does, because I know we have quite a number of people who are looking to get into entrepreneurship as well. So I think your answer is quite holistic. I'm reading a comment from George who says, inspirational insights, a living example that you can go against the grain of adversity to succeed. Thank you. So now my other question would be, we also have these people who, when something like this happens, they take forever to wake up. What would be your advice?
My advice is that life is usually uncertain. Nobody knows about tomorrow. So if your pain is so much, or if your fear is so much, first and foremost, you need to replace your fear with faith. God, who put you in this world, did not make a mistake. Why do you want to challenge God that you're a mistake? So, two things. Nobody knows about tomorrow. So people learn about tomorrow by taking calculated risks, by experimenting. Secondly, looking at what is in us, our talents and skills. That should be the first place for you to reinvent yourself. Look at your past. What have you been good at? If you have been good at telling stories, probably you can teach people how to tell stories. And people will pay you because people love good stories. Then no experience. Look at your experience and ask yourself, how can you, if you are good, get meaning out of the data that they generate? I hope that answers your question.
Okay, yes, it does. It's 9:01, so let me take a few more questions, just two. There's somebody who's saying, I was retrenched in 2018. At the time I was attending college for a course in HR, I haven't been able to get meaningful work because of personal unavoidable circumstances. I am now ready to get back to work again. I do not know where or how to start. I would like to build my career in HR. My question is, what can I do? One, to ensure that I keep myself abreast with the HR industry, or two, how do I keep myself hopeful? So before Vincent answers this question, first thing you need to do about staying abreast with what's happening in the HR industry, you need to keep it locked on Get It Right with Atara Solutions. Every Tuesday, we are here sharing knowledge and information on matters employment. And HR is becoming a business leader. So you need to keep it here. But again, go through our YouTube channel. There's a lady called Jane who did a session with us about 2 or 3 weeks back. She was talking about bridging the career gap. So that will help you on getting back on track in terms of how to prepare for getting back into employment. To employment. So allow me to now ask Vincent. Question one is, how do I ensure that I keep myself abreast with the HR industry? And two, how do I keep myself hopeful?
There are three things that the gentleman or lady would be able to do. First and foremost, start reading and consume content that is relevant to HR, because you'll be able to get ideas and insights from those. Attend seminars where other HR managers or practitioners are involved. When you start participating in those seminars, you would actually have an opportunity to network and be able to build a social network that is useful for you to grow your career. And just to mention, there are a number of small and medium-sized enterprises that suffer from lack of HR policies and such. So he can volunteer. He can probably start consulting for some of these small businesses, and one way or another, he'll start getting a foot into the market space. Those are probably 4 ideas that I will be able to share.
Okay, and again, maybe to add on to that, you can also join the HR WhatsApp groups. They're quite a number, and you can be able to probably learn and keep up with what the discussions that are happening around the HR fraternity. You can also get in touch with me. Maybe I can be able to point you out on a few different directions. So Gerard Njuguna says, very interesting. It sounds miraculous. You're very passionate about yourself, but you have turned it into a reality. Believe it, you have already inspired many, starting with me. I'm enjoying my studies in PhD than bachelor's and master's. I have truly loved listening to you. It is value. And he asks for your number, which we can share later, or they can see here. So it's 9:05, and I think because we don't have any other question, maybe we can probably start ending. I don't know, what are your final remarks, Vincent?
My final remarks, it's never too late to reinvent yourself. If they can use the framework that I've shared, Edgar, look at the event in your life that you are not happy about and you feel that things would have been different. Make the decision that the same will not happen again. Formulate goals or a goal and start working on the activities to realize your goal. It is never too late to reinvent yourself, and winners never quit, and quitters never win. And if you would like to get more, get this book, Sucked So What? It has real life stories and Kenyan stories that are really transforming. There's a lady who was sacked because she was expecting, and she reinvented herself. Read about it. It's all here. Thank you very much, Grace.
Oh yeah, there's a lady who had emailed about being fired while pregnant. And Vincent has shared his answer. You can also check out Jane's presentation on getting back after maternity, so that then you're able to get more details into that. Somebody is saying, kindly include me as well on being added to the HR WhatsApp groups. Thank you. You'll have to share with me your number. You will find it on my email address, and then we can get that done. So thank you very much, our audience, for being with us this evening. Thank you, Vincent, for sharing your wisdom with us and for continuing to be to set an example and just sharing your story. Thank you very much, Balcon Housing and Stallion Construction Company, for making this happen. Thank you, our audience. It's always a pleasure. Thank you, Kapula Mintito. By the way, the person who leaves the most comments on our YouTube channel, you get a gift hamper from Kapula Mintito. So let's go there, leave comments, subscribe to the channel, and you'll stand the chance to get a gift hamper from Kapula Mintito. By the way, Get It Right with Atara Solutions is about to hit 1 year. So I'm sure we will have some things for you in store to celebrate the 1 year anniversary. My name is Grace Nzula. I am a trainer and HR consultant with Atara Solutions, and as always, I'm your host. Next week, we shall be looking at how to answer interview questions, and after that, we will be addressing issues to do with VAT and pay with our partnership with Kenya Revenue Authority. Please like our Facebook page, Atara Solutions. Follow us on Instagram, Atara Solutions. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Get It Right with Atara Solutions. See you next week, same time, same place. From all of us, it's a good night. And thank you very much for tuning in today. And we shall see you again next week.